Hello, ghosties. You're listening to Not My Ghost.
Not My Problem. I'm Kelly.
And I'm Jen.
Whether you're a skeptic, a true believer, or somewhere in between, join us for a journey into the unknown.
Because remember, when it comes to the paranormal, it may not be our problem.
But it's certainly someone's problem. I'm glad you're here with me today.
Yeah, me too.
I was all ready to go.
I didn't almost forget that we were recording or anything. Oops.
No, I didn't text you for the link to record, and you were like, I wonder what she's talking about. What are we doing? What day is it? I don't know anymore.
What link? I don't know. What are you talking about? No, I don't know anymore. I lose track of time.
I get it. It's the ADHD.
It is. But I'm glad that I'm here. I'm glad that we are recording.
And we are starting our scripted, unscripted banter.
Yes. Good job at remembering it. But before we hit 2 minutes. Wow.
I know.
Impressive. Yes. So scripted, unscripted banter. I have a question for you.
That was a long pause. Like, I don't know what the fuck to talk about.
I don't know what I'm saying.
I just got here. I didn't even know we were doing this.
I'm still drinking my coffee.
And you have a question for me.
I do have a question for you. What is your favorite paranormal investigation tool? This can be something that you own or something that you wished you owned.
I'd love to have an Ovulus or something close to that. So if for listeners, an Ovulus is a device that has a word bank in it. And you can ask questions or whatever to the spirits around you. And they can pick words out of this word bank. And it shows up on the screen. And it will tell you, like, it'll also say the word. So that's something I don't have that I would love to have.
Yeah, they're like $500.
I know. But also, I really do like old school digital recorders. But I'm torn on that too. Because sometimes it's a lot of just white noise, and I don't know if we're really hearing things that we think that we're hearing. But other times it seems very clear.
Yeah, I have to agree. I would definitely say an Ovulus is my first choice if I could afford it. I think that's super cool. Yeah, I think that's definitely my first choice. Obviously, yeah, digital recorders are pretty solid. I do like, and I think it was kind of new to me when I started watching Project Fear, how they will do a digital recording session and ask the questions and then go back and immediately listen to it. And most other paranormal shows that I've watched, they just record and then they go back later and listen and not real time, which I think is really cool because it allows the conversation to kind of go in that direction based on if they get responses.
Right, like if you ask a question and you get a direct response that's either heartbreaking or something that's terrifying that you hear, and that person is hearing it not in the exact moment but very close after to when they asked it, it adds to the creepiness of the show.
Yeah, exactly. So I do like that. And then I really like the simple like the Maglite flashlights, the ones that like they can like twist the top off to where if it's, I guess, like just lightly touched, it can be turned on and off. I think that's a pretty interesting way of communicating.
I do wonder about that. I'd have to play around with one and see. Now, I did receive a REM pod for my birthday.
Did you now?
From one of my very, very best friends. I don't know if the listeners know her, but it's you.
Ah, it's me. And Stefan.
Yes.
Stefan helped, my neighbor, who you met when you came to visit, who is now your best friend.
Yeah, we're all buddies now. My kids have had just a great time with that REM pod. They will turn it on for the house, and they'll turn it on, and then they'll just start, like, making it, getting real close to it, and it starts making all the noise, and I'm like, And I'll come downstairs and it's just Emily standing there, like putting her hand next to it. And I'm like, remember
awesome.
to turn it off or you're going to kill the battery.
Yeah. Yeah. Next time you come to visit, you'll have to bring it and we'll have to go to like the fort or some other place that's haunted and test it out. It's a lot of haunted things in St. Augustine. Okay. Are we ready to dive into our topic?
We are. What are we talking about?
Perfect.
Today?
In this episode, we'll delve into the mystifying world of shadow people. Those unsettling figures that seem to lurk in the darkest corners of our lives. These elusive entities are often spotted in the blackest shadows, but reports suggest they can also appear in broad daylight. When faced, shadow people tend to vanish or retreat with a ghostly swiftness, moving with an uneerie, almost indistinguishable silence. Join us as we explore the mysteries and unsettling encounters surrounding these shadowy apparitions.
I have stories about shadow people.
I know you do, which is why I didn't collect too many. I figured I would use yours. Perfect. We are going to dive into some facts. Now, with shadow people, I couldn't really find any fun facts.
No?
To say the
How
least.
odd.
No fun facts surrounding shadow people. Shadow people are also linked with sleep paralysis, which is a condition where a person temporarily experiences an inability to move or speak while falling asleep or waking up. During these episodes, people might see shadowy figures and feel intense fear, contributing to the eerie nature of shadow people. Shadow people also often appear during heightened times of stress or anxiety, and the brain's tendency to interpret this ambiguous stimuli as threatening can make people more prone to seeing shadowy figures when they're already feeling anxious or frightened. Then there's also the fact that it could also just be a visual hallucination. So shadow people can be a form of some type of visual hallucination under certain circumstances, such as extreme fatigue or sensory deprivation, or waking up the morning after having 8 lemon drop martinis.
That's weird.
It's
weird right? that came
that
up.
was in the facts. Like
Right.
8 lemon drop martinis might make you see shadow people. But the brain may generate these shadowy or indistinct figures as it tries to make sense of the limited visual information.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a weird one. I thought that was really interesting, really specific.
Who knew other people go out and drink 8 lemon drop martinis, come home like SpongeBob and Patrick, and then wake up and see shadow people?
Yeah, apparently it's a common thing. Then there is this psychological phenomenon called pareidolia, which involves seeing familiar patterns or shapes in random stimuli. In low-light conditions, people might perceive shadowy figures because their brains are hardwired to recognize faces or figures even when they aren't actually present.
Yep.
Which I think is a very common thing that happens in paranormal sightings and pictures and all of that. Because I see people post stuff online all the time. They're like, do you see this face? And I look at it, I'm like, that smudges on your mirror or your window.
Yeah.
It's not really a face. Or you see like 18 faces in one picture. I'm like, nobody's that haunted. It's literally just your eyes making faces.
And a lot of times when I see people post that, I'm like, I don't see a face. And then they tell me the area to look in, and I'm like, well, now I see the face, because now I see you told me there'd be a face there.
Exactly. I like it when people will post something and will just say, what do you see? Or do you see anything in this photo? And then not tell you specifically where to look.
Right.
But then I'm always the one that will stare at it for about 30 seconds and then say, fuck it, I can't see anything. So I'll go into the comments to see what people are saying. And then, of course, I see it. But prior to that, I usually don't. That is it with our not fun. That is it with our scary / psychological facts. Now we're going to delve into just the general phenomenon of shadow figures. The prevalence of shadow figures captured widespread interest after a 2001 broadcast of the paranormal radio show Coast to Coast. There has been a surge in reported encounters with these entities, sparking inquiries into the influence of suggestion and their historical origins. Throughout history, various cultures have documented beliefs in shadow beings. In Roman mythology, these obscure entities were called shades and were linked to both benevolent and malevolent spirits. In ancient Rome, households practiced a fascinating ritual to safeguard against evil spirits. On 3 specific nights in May, the head of the household would throw black beans over their shoulder while making sure not to look back. This unique tradition was a way for families to protect themselves from mysterious and malevolent forces. Greek mythology also includes similar dark entities like Erebos, the ancient deity representing profound darkness and shadows. Erebos was wedded to Nyx, the powerful goddess of the night, and the mother of sleep, Hypnos, and death, Thanatos. Love Greek mythology. Yeah, love it. What exactly are shadow people, Kelly? That is the next question that I'm going to answer for all of you.
I can't wait because, I don't know, I have some ideas based on what I have experienced with them.
Well, hopefully we'll see if your ideas match up on my research. The term shadow person, also referred to as a shadow figure, shadow being, or simply a black mass, is used to describe the eerie human-like figures that some individuals claim to have witnessed. These entities resemble the silhouette of a person, but without discernible source casting the shadow. Witnesses report seeing them move along walls, stand independently, or appear as figures entirely clad in black. Descriptions often include dense, dark shadows that block out light and obstruct objects behind them. Some accounts mention a faint glow outlining the shape of these entities, distinguishing them from ordinary shadows. Some witnesses have even reported seeing illuminated eyes, predominantly red, although yellow and white eyes have also been mentioned. Encounters with shadow beings with red eyes invoke an intense fear and perceptions of malevolence. Which, fair.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, if I just saw some black mass with red eyes staring at me, I would freak the fuck out.
Yeah, my shadow people didn't have eyes.
That's good, because that makes them seem much more scary. Their movements are fast and erratic, with the ability to teleport from one location to another. Some describe them as 2-dimensional entities that vanish when viewed head-on, while others believe that they are 3-dimensional beings with a tangible and physical presence. And that was really interesting because besides the 8 lemon drop martini night, I don't think I've ever really experienced a shadow being, but I am that person that will always see something out of the corner of my eye in my peripheral vision, and then the second I turn towards it, it's gone. And it happens to me all the time, where I will see something walk past me or move in a direction, and then I'll go look and it's not there. So it was interesting to find that the research kind of says that that's shadow people, because, I just usually think it's me going crazy.
Well, our shadow peoples did not vanish when you saw them, and were more like a 3-dimensional physical presence.
Shadow people seem unaffected by the restrictions of our physical world, passing through walls, lurking on ceilings, and disappearing into thin air. Numerous accounts depict them perched on furniture, which is terrifying. Perched on furniture. I just hate the word perched. That just makes it seem really scary.
Yeah.
Or dangling upside down from a ceiling. Also terrifying.
That's insane.
Yeah.
No. Dangling upside down from the like Spider-Man?
Yeah.
I don't like it.
I don't like it either. Encounters invoke a sense of unease and dread as these entities observe from the shadows, their intentions unknown. Next, we're going to delve into the various religious and cultural beliefs that kind of go around shadow people. We kind of touched on it a little bit with ancient Greek and Rome, but we're going to get into it even more. The ancient culture of Persia and Judaism held a belief that each person has an unseen spirit that could separate from the body, appearing as a duplicate. This concept is also apparent in the biblical story found in Acts 12:25, where it is implied that the apostle Peter's presence may have been his angelic counterpart rather than Peter himself. Then you have Cherokee legends, where they talk about the raven mocker, which is a terrifying spirit that possesses the ability to change shapes from a large black bird to a bent elderly figure, which is terrifying.
Yes.
This malevolent entity materializes when someone is approaching death, accelerating their passing and devouring their heart in order to prolong its own existence. Only a proficient shaman has the power to identify and defeat the raven mocker.
That is one fucked up Grim Reaper story.
I don't like it.
I don't like it at all. It devours your heart to accelerate the person's passing, so it doesn't wait for the person to be dead.
No.
It just takes your heart and just starts munching on it while your brain still has some activity left, and you're just watching this thing eat your heart as... No. Mm-mm.
No, thank
nope.
you.
No, thank you. I'm out.
Nope, gone. I'm not having it. Islamic belief categorizes sentient beings into 3 groups: angels, humans, and jinn. Jinn are beings with free will that can exhibit benevolent and malevolent or neutral behavior. There are various subtypes of jinn, each with distinctive characteristics and abilities. I'm going to go into the different subtypes of jinns and just a little bit about each of them. First, we have ghouls, which are nocturnal beings that dwell in graveyards and abandoned ruins that prey on the living. Then there are hin, which imitate animals, especially dogs, which I don't like at all, that thing could imitate a dog. Then you have the ifrit, which are believed to be formed in the blood of a murder victim. They prefer underground places and caves.
Okay.
Don't like that at all. And I do just want to point out, I did look up pronunciations of all of these, so I really hope I'm saying them correctly, but I apologize if I am not. So then you have the myriad. These are powerful beings that are influenced or coerced to fulfill mortal wishes. Then there are shaitan, which are rebellious and malevolent, and they are associated with demonic forces. Then there are pales, which are known to lick the soles of feet to draw blood from sleeping people.
This is why you always have your feet covered with a sheet, people. Always. Mm-hmm. Don't mess around with it.
The demons are going to get you. You can't let that foot dangle off the edge of your bed.
No, and we all know that sheet, nothing can get through it.
No, nothing can get through the sheet. Nothing. And last but not least, we have the salat, which are shapeshifters who mimic human appearance.
No. My dad was haunted by jinn.
Really?
But it was spelled with a G instead of a J, and it came in little bottles that I used to find hidden all over the house.
Funny. Yeah, that was a good one. I thought you were serious for a second. I was like, oh, what? I can't wait to hear this story. Good job.
It's,
Love it. Now we're going to delve into some of the theories on shadow people. It is speculated that shadow people could be composed of matter invisible to the human eye and impervious to light, existing beyond our visual range, but sensed by our brains. Psychics and mediums believe that shadow beings can only enter our world through existing doorways or portals between worlds. They are often found in places with high spirit activity, such as haunted buildings, battlefields, or places where portals to the other sides have been opened. These entities are often attracted to individuals with extrasensory abilities.
I have a question.
Yes, what's your question?
Do you think when they say existing doorways or portals that it could also be like symbolic in your home with like a doorway?
I think doorways could represent a portal, but I think something would have had to have been done to it for it to be a portal.
Because our shadow people, I'm assuming people, always occurred in 3 different doorways.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Can't wait to hear more about it. The boundary between the living and the dead, known as the veil, becomes thinner in places where many people have died, allowing spirits to enter our dimension more easily. This theory explains why hauntings are frequently reported in locations with a history of mass death, such as battlefields, old sanitariums, hospitals, and they said cemeteries, which I don't understand because people don't usually die in cemeteries.
Right. They're just taken there after they die.
Yeah, but people will always think cemeteries are haunted, so who knows? Shadow people may also utilize these weakened barriers to traverse between dimensions. There are several theories to explain the existence of shadow people, ranging from supernatural to scientific speculations. One theory suggests that shadow people are ancient evil beings that thrive on human emotion such as fear, pain, and anger. That is the terrifying theory. Well, one of the terrifying theories. There are a couple other ones that are terrifying. Another possibility is that they are extraterrestrial beings observing humans with varied intentions. I like that, varied intentions, because it's like some might have good intentions and some might have not good intentions.
I've never heard of shadow people being thought to be extraterrestrial. That's interesting.
Yeah, me neither, until I read this book that will be in the show notes that I read about shadow people. Some believe these figures to be the astral projections of individuals experiencing an out-of-body state. It is also speculated that some shadow people might be the astral projections of wicked souls, with theories even linking them to historical figures like Hitler.
I'm sorry, Hitler, you need to get the fuck out of my house.
Hitler, what? Get the fuck out.
I can't even. How would you know? Like, in what situation would you be like, that shadow man? That's Hitler. Like,
that's
what?
Hitler.
Does he, like, give, like, the Nazi salute or something every time you see it?
Maybe. I don't know.
That's just really weird to me.
Yeah, I mean, astral projections of wicked souls. You can't get much more wickeder than Hitler. But how much would that suck? True. If that was your shadow person that was haunting you? It was fucking Hitler. It'd be awful.
I have so many inappropriate jokes running through my head right now, but we're just going to move.
We don't want to get canceled right this early,
That's right.
Kelly.
Full steam ahead, Jen. Full steam ahead.
It's too early to get canceled. There are also propositions that shadow people could be time travelers, which I thought that one was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you see shadow people...
Not so scary.
Not so scary. If you see a shadow person, maybe they're just a time traveler coming back to check in on you because you're going to do something in the future, and they either want to stop you or encourage you. I don't know.
Hopefully encourage.
Hopefully.
Because if they want to stop me, we all saw Terminator.
Yeah, doesn't really work out. Others believe that they are metaphysical representations of individuals undergoing near-death experiences. Another theory suggests that these entities come from a dimension that is completely devoid of light, which, according to string theory and the multiverse theory, which are both scientific theories, the concept of parallel worlds is theoretically possible. Others speculate that shadow people might be shapeshifters. And then some others believe that they are the spirits of deceased loved ones that are transitioning into the afterlife. And one of the last theories I read about were some interpretations suggest that shadow people are evil spirits of individuals unable to leave the earthly realm. So Hitler. Back to Hitler.
Hitler.
Yeah.
I would think that if there were other realms, and if one of those realms was hell, which I'm not a real big believer in, but, you know, that Hitler would be there, hopefully, and not just...
Hopefully.
You know, haunting unsuspecting families.
Yeah, that would be pretty awful. It is crucial to note that these theories are not based on facts and are deeply rooted in religious and superstitious beliefs. However, many people report that their encounters with shadow entities are commonly associated with the feelings of dread, despair, or intense anxiety, leading them to believe their demonic origins. While encounters with shadow people are described vividly, the explanations for their existence remains very speculative. Now we're going to get into the different types of shadow people. Shadow people are often described as humanoid forms, black smoke, or mist. And then there is the Hat Man. From this point forward, we will refer to this specific type of shadow person as the H-Man. And we're going to talk about him in a little bit more detail later, but I have heard some people say that the full name, if they have seen him, invokes a sense of fear, and I don't want to do anything that is going to really scare or trigger anybody.
Okay, I have an H-Man story too, so.
Yes, I know. I'm looking forward to that one. There are also shadow animals, but these are less commonly reported and are typically small and dart around. I'm just saying, if a shadow animal wants to come haunt me, you're welcome. Any animal is welcome to come haunt me.
So we did have a black dog, but I don't think it was a shadow. I think it was
an actual
more
apparition.
Yeah. It didn't have the same appearance as the people.
Okay. People also claim to see shadow figures that peek out from behind corners or trees, and these are known as peeking shadows. Paranormal researcher Rosemary Ellen Goulet has identified 7 subcategories of shadow people. First, you have sentials. These entities stand in the corners or on the edges of room, just observing, just kind of just chilling out, just watching you from the corner of the room. Not creepy at all. Then you have lurkers, which are known to move through areas on a repeated path. Also not creepy at all, just, continuing the same path over and over again. Totally normal. It's cool. Then you have minding their own business, or MTB. These are similar to lurkers, but seem completely unaware of the living. So this one made me think more of that like residual haunt type, where they just seem like they're going about their life in whatever they were doing before they died. Then you have the predators. The predators are known for instilling fear, and there have been reports of physical attacks with these entities. No, I don't like those. Another type is the visitors. These appear in groups and are often described as otherworldly, which I'd never heard of a group of shadow people before, so that was interesting.
Yeah, me neither.
Then there are omens, which appear before bad luck or death and are often passed down through generations. Which, I guess, not the worst. I mean, the question is, are they causing the bad luck or death, or are they just warning you about it? Because if I'm going to have bad luck, I
should look up the definition, really, of omen.
Yeah. And last, there is the haunters. And the haunters are spotted primarily in well-known haunted locations. So those are the ones we see on all those haunted shows that are shadow figures that are captured.
So if I had to use this list for our experiences, I would say ours were somewhere in between sentials and lurkers.
Okay. Those are probably some of the better ones to have.
Yeah.
Now we're going to dive a little bit more into the H-Man, as I said earlier. The concept of a shadowy spiritual being is a common theme across a variety of religions, legends, and belief systems. Opinions differ on whether these figures are good, evil, or something entirely different. Some UFOologists speculate that the H-Man could be an extraterrestrial species observing human behavior. So there we go back to aliens. The available data on the H-Man predominantly consist of first-hand personal accounts. Witnesses often describe an entity observing them from a doorway, closet, or corner of a room. The majority of these accounts report that the observation is passive. Some people report encountering the H-Man during sleep paralysis, while others claim to see him while fully awake during the day. Additionally, there are accounts of individuals witnessing the H-Man before, during, or after traumatic events, leading to the speculation about a potential spiritual or emotional connection to this shadowy figure that is not fully understood. The H-Man is described as a completely dark figure with distinct male characteristics. He is often likened to a shadow person and is usually depicted wearing a fedora or a long-brimmed hat, along with a trench coat. While some accounts mention red eyes, most witnesses describe his face as obscured, making it difficult to discern any specific features. He is said to stand at around 6 feet tall, and his presence is generally unsettling to those who encounter him. Yeah, I would be pretty unsettled.
Yeah.
His behavior seems to change depending on the person, but there are some common patterns that are consistent regardless of the person's state of consciousness. These include appearing more vivid or realistic compared to other hallucinations, observing or following the person, vanishing when approached, transforming into other objects, appearing in doorways, being visible to children, and frequently remaining silent.
There's those doorways again.
It's the doorways. Why might someone Why might someone see?
Why might someone shit? Well, if you see an H-man standing in your room, it might scare you so much that you shit.
It might. No judgment. Why might someone see a shadow person, Kelly?
I don't know, Jen. Let me know.
I'm going to tell you. If you come across the shadow person, take into account the history of your location. Places like prisons, hospitals, mortuaries, or antique stores might raise the chances of encountering these entities. Should you spot a shadow person in your home, research its history. Kelly, did you research your old home's history?
Yes, we actually had the research done on the house.
Oh, nice.
And it is nothing that you would think a shadow person would be at. It was an old apple orchard.
Oh,
it was an apple orchard, and then they cleared out the apple orchard and they built the homes.
Interesting. Okay. Well, maybe some shady shit happened in that apple orchard.
You never know.
You never know. Did you utilize resources such as diedinhouse.com?
No, I did not even know that was a resource.
Apparently that's a thing. So if you want to know if someone died in your house, you can go to diedinhouse.com to see if anyone has died there. I'm pretty sure it costs money, so I don't think you can do it for free.
Oh, that stinks.
Yeah. You can also search for archived newspapers at local libraries or get in touch with historical societies for information about past crimes or events that occurred on the property. Throughout ancient cultures, tales and myths have depicted encounters with mysterious shadow beings that share similarities with the modern-day phenomenon of shadow people. These mysterious entities have traversed generations, leaving a trail of stories that reflect their presence in diverse forms across various cultures. These accounts provoke fascinating inquiries into the nature and origins of these elusive figures. That is shadow people.
Now, I'm assuming you have some ghost stories or shadow people-y accounts to share with me before you then have me finish your episode.
Yes. So I have one because I knew that you had encounters, so I wanted to make sure that we had plenty of time to go over your stories.
Okay.
This story was emailed to us by Grayson, who I met and gave out our information on from the Two Girls, One Ghost Discord, which is another podcast that we've mentioned. And we've already read a story from Grayson. So hi, Grayson. Grayson writes, "This story isn't mine, but my brother's. We have moved into a new house in upstate New York. Months in the new house, we started experiencing paranormal stuff like door slamming, catching our window opening and shutting around 2 a.m. on camera, which is terrifying. I want to see that camera video. Like, I hope.
Seriously.
Yeah, if you have it, please send it to us. And shadows moving across the camera. I'll take that too. This part is the scariest. My brother woke up in the middle of the night and saw a large shadow man with a hat and a large coat. The figure was darker than black. The figure stood there watching him, not even moving. And then the door slowly shut. My brother did not go back to sleep after that. Fair. I don't know if I could have either.
Right.
The next morning, he told the family, and my stepsister said she experienced that when she was a kid too, and explained to my brother saying that it was the H-man. After my brother went back down south, we still experienced stuff, but it's light activity since he left. My parents were talking about taking him back, but all of a sudden his picture flew off the wall and smashed onto the floor. Ever since, it's been quiet in the house.
Well, what the hell does that mean?
Guess the house didn't want their brother to come back and live there.
Well, but who knew houses could evict people?
I mean, would you want to live in a house that threw your picture on the floor when your parents were talking about you? Probably not.
I mean, I would assume my parents would throw my picture across the room when they were talking about me, so I don't think that would be all that.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay, Kelly, now I get to hear your stories.
All right, what do you want first? Do you want H-Man?
Yeah, let's start with H-Man.
Okay, so when we moved into our house, it was 2002. We knew the previous owners of the house, So we did know that there was some paranormal activity that went on in the home. I had been in the home many times before we even thought about purchasing the home. And there were some things that were interesting, but I don't think that they were things I would just jump to, oh my gosh, that could be paranormal.
Okay.
Until we bought the house.
Of course.
So we're going to stick strictly to shadow people here. We, as you know, Jen, because you have been in my home, we had a long hallway.
Yes.
At the very end of that hallway was a bedroom.
Can confirm.
On the right of that bedroom was another bedroom.
Yes.
And to the left was a bathroom. The bedroom on the right has been everybody in our family's bedroom at some point. When my son Joshua was a teenager, that was his bedroom. And he came into my room one night and woke me up and said, "Mom, there's a man in my room." And I said, "What the hell are you talking about? There's a man in your room."
That seems like a proper response.
And he said, "Well, there was a man in my room." And I sat up and was like, "Well, where the hell did the man go, Josh?" And he said, "He just disappeared." And I was like, "Okay." So I asked him to describe the man. And he described him as a tall man in a long coat wearing a top hat.
Sounds accurate.
So sleep paralysis was the first thing that kind of came to mind because it was in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
But he started walking, like he would be walking down the hallway to go to bed. So he's fully awake walking down the hallway. He would walk in his room. He would turn around and say, "Can I sleep on the floor in your bedroom? Because the man is in there, the H-man."
I don't like that.
So we would go back and look in there. We could never see the H-man. It was specifically Joshua that could see him. And this went on, I'd say about a year and a half. And then he stopped talking about it. So I'm assuming H-man went away.
Or he just stopped talking about it.
Right.
That's interesting.
Knowing Joshua, he was probably like, "Listen, motherfucker. If you need to be here, you stay over there, you do your thing, and you leave me the hell alone."
Yeah. That sounds like something Josh would do.
Yes, it does. On that same area of the hallway that we're talking about, I started to notice a shadow person, no hat. It was more like a three-dimensional, like what you would expect to see a human standing there, but was just a completely dark black mass.
Okay.
And I started seeing it at first, kind of like peeking its head out of Joshua's doorway.
So a peeker.
Or that bedroom's doorway. It's been everybody's bedroom.
Okay.
Peeking out the doorway and looking down, straight down the hallway into the living room. And as you know, I usually had a chair that sat there. I first saw it at night, so my first thought was my eyes are just playing tricks on me.
Right, as one logical person would probably think.
Right. Then I started to notice it during the daytime. And it wasn't in the corner of my eye. Well, I wouldn't be directly looking at it, but I would see movement and I would look up and see the head peeked out. And then it would just pull its head back into the room.
So fucking creepy.
So I would get up, go in there, look around every time, nothing. When Rebecca, my daughter, was about 3, I was sitting in that chair. Rebecca was sitting on the floor in front of me, but she was not looking down the hallway. She was facing me.
Okay.
She was just playing with a puzzle. And I looked up and I saw the shadow man kind of, at first it was just his head peeking out, and then it kind of moved to like more like torso and head. And I looked up and I saw him. And by this point I was pretty used to it. So I just started watching TV again. And Rebecca looked up at me and said, "Mom, sometimes when I sit in that chair, I see what did she say? A shadowy man," she called it.
Oh.
A shadowy man down in the hallway. And I said, "Oh." And I didn't want to tell her, "No, you don't," because I don't know. I don't want to deny her experience, especially when I'm seeing the same thing.
Right.
I said, "Does it scare you?" And she said, "No, not really. I just told it, if you're nice to me, I'll be nice to you." And I thought, okay, cool. I mean, that's reasonable.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah. How old was she at this point?
She was like maybe very close to 4, I'd say.
Wow.
3, 4. She was I think she was 3, but she was probably closer to being 4. But we used to tell the kids all the time that if a person is bothering them to say, you be nice to me, I'll be nice to you. So I guess she just took that.
Yeah, for anybody.
And, applied it to
Ghost.
To the shadowy man. After that, the shadowy man got a little bit more active, and he would run from... It always seemed to start in that bedroom on the right.
Okay.
It was always where he would start. And he would, like, kind of lean out and then run into the bedroom at the end of the hallway. And then he'd run back into the original bedroom, and then he would run across the hall into the bathroom. Oh. You could see him just kind of running back and forth.
And the bathroom wasn't, like, right across from those bedrooms. Like, it was up a little bit in the hallway.
A little bit, yeah.
So that's interesting that it could, like... It's not just like you're darting from, like, across the hall into another room. It's, like, has to be seen for a little bit of period of time.
Right. We did have a paranormal team come out to investigate. Jen, you and I ended up joining that paranormal team.
We did. However briefly.
I wish it would have lasted longer.
Me
but,
too.
Everybody's life blew up. People got married. People had kids.
Yeah.
When they had come out, we were wrapping up the night because it was pretty quiet. It was a pretty quiet night. And I remember Don and Chris were sitting. They were the two people that started the group that we joined. At this time that they came out, they were with another paranormal group. And when they told me that they wanted to call me and tell me that they were leaving that group because I had worked with them, I said, well, are you starting your own group? And they said, yes, we are. And I said, well, I don't want to use this other group. I want to stay with you two. And they were like, we're glad you said that because we couldn't ask that.
Very professional.
So, yes. They were sitting on the love seat at the end of my couch, or at the end of the hallway. And where Don was, he was enough where he could see down the hallway. Chris was kind of out of view of the hallway. And we're just talking, kind of really shooting the shit. And Don all of a sudden stands up. And he very quickly goes down the hallway with his flashlight on. And he's looking around. And I was like, what's up? And he goes, I just saw the Shadow Man.
That's awesome.
And I was like, yup.
Yup.
So that Shadow Man would constantly be there. Not constantly. It wasn't like we saw him every day, but just consistently over the 15 years that we lived in the house.
Yeah.
There was some kind of shadow person activity at the end of that hallway. And one of the kids' favorite stories is there was a joke in our house that whenever I had to use the bathroom, somebody else would be in the bathroom. It was every time. So every time I'd walk down the hallway to go to the bathroom and the door was closed, I'd be like, I knew it. One day I was walking down the hallway because I had to use the bathroom. And very quickly I saw somebody run out of the original bedroom across the hall into the bathroom, and the door slammed. And I was like, God damn it, I have to go to the bathroom. So I continued walking down the hallway, and I was just standing there staring at the bathroom door. Like, come on, person. But I don't hear anything going on in the bathroom.
Okay.
It's important to note I never took my eyes off this bathroom door. From the moment I saw somebody run into that bathroom and slam the door.
Yeah.
I'm standing there, and I said, Josh, because that bedroom was his at the time. I was like, Josh, hurry up. I need to use the bathroom. And the bedroom door behind me, which was Josh's room, opened. And he was like, what are you talking about? I was like, Josh, was there somebody else in your room? And he goes, no. I'm like, Josh, somebody just ran out of your bedroom and ran into the bathroom. He goes, no, it was just me.
That didn't happen.
So I knocked on the bathroom door and there was no answer. Then I opened the bathroom door and nobody was in there. Nobody. Now, it was after that happened when I started to see an actual figure that looked like a person instead of a shadow. Yeah. In that bathroom.
Like a full...
But that happened first.
A full body apparition. Because that is the one experience I had in your house, was seeing the full body apparition in the bathroom.
Yeah. And that never happened until I saw that person run out of that bedroom into the bathroom and slam the door. It did not stop the shadow person activity. Now, with all of that said, other than Josh with the H-man feeling a little creeped out. We never got a feeling of dread or really fear. Fear at first because it's something you can't explain happening.
Yeah.
You're seeing things, you're like, am I going nuts? We've had 3 different paranormal teams that had come into the house, and they all did different experiments trying to see if they could replicate some sort of a shadow, anything, movement at the end of that hallway that would mimic what we would see and what Don eventually saw.
Yeah.
And nobody was ever able to get anything. When we first started seeing it, when it was really slow, it would just kind of peek its head out and then kind of creep back. This was before smartphones. I didn't have a camera any way to catch it. Then after that, it kind of progressed that it was so fast, there's no way that you would
have been able to capture it.
Been able to.
Unless short of just putting a camera on there 24/7.
Yeah, but I had 5 kids, and we were, I was a stay-at-home mom, 1 income, so we didn't really have that kind of money to get a camera to put there.
That's fair.
But we never were, like I said, other than initially being creeped out, we were never afraid of it. Now, not everybody in the house has seen that Shadow Man. I've seen it. Rebecca has seen it. Josh has seen it. I want to say it was either Katie or Emily, but one of the girls hadn't, and Nick hadn't.
Okay. I questionably had, again, after 8 lemon drop martinis. Could have not.
We were never afraid of it after the initial creepiness factor. It was just kind of a part of the house. That is a lot how all of the activity in the house was just a part of the house.
Yeah, it was just second nature.
Yeah, we live here. At first, a lot of things were terrifying to me. After that, it was just, this is where we live, and these other things live here with us.
Yeah. I know, I always wish that I experienced more. I mean, I was there enough. You think I would have.
Yeah. But you experienced the big one.
Yeah.
I mean, full body apparition. Come on.
I know. It's pretty rare. I have to say I'm pretty special.
So I only saw that one time. That one time did I see that one in that bathroom, and then you saw him.
Yeah.
In the bathroom. And you described him exactly as I would have described him.
Yeah.
But there was another apparition in the house that we'll talk about at a later time.
Oh, yeah. I remember that one. That one's fun. And that brings us to the end of this episode about the mysterious entities known as shadow people. From their shadowy appearance to their inexplicable behaviors, these elusive figures continue to fascinate and terrify those who encounter them.
If you loved what you heard, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe to our podcast wherever you listen. Your support helps us reach more listeners and share even more spooky stories.
It really does. Please rate us, love us, like us.
Please.
Subscribe. And you can also follow us on Instagram, which you totally should, at notmyghostpodcast, and on Facebook at notmyghostnotmyproblem. Not My Problem. We post a ton of shit all the time, daily interactive posts that you guys can interact with, which please do. Trivia questions, just other fun, mysterious stuff, and a lot more.
Yes, and if you want even more ghostly content, consider joining our Patreon. We have some fantastic exclusive perks for our supporters, one of which Jen and I just discussed today, which would be a fun and hilarious story that we were going to share on the podcast that I think we're just going to keep for our patrons.
Yeah.
And just share it on Patreon.
It's a great story. One of the perks you get when you join Patreon is mini bonus episodes. And I think that is for if you are a $5 tier or higher. And we were kind of just talking today before we started recording of some of those fun topics that we could do for our supporters.
Yes, and this one has nothing to do with the paranormal.
No, but it is still a great story.
You will truly understand how strong our friendship is and how much I can rely on Jen.
Yes. So if you want to know what that is, go join our Patreon.
And if you have ever had a spine-tingling paranormal encounter, share your story with us at notmyghostpodcast@gmail.com. And you might just hear it featured on a future episode.
Thank you for joining us on this eerie exploration of shadow people. As you navigate through the shadows and mysteries of the unknown, Keep this in mind.
If it's not your shadow person,
it's not your problem.
Until next time, stay spooky.
And stay skeptical.